Hello, good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Louise and this is Louise's Lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to be repotting this jackfruit grown from seed. It's over a year old now, and it's been in this pot for quite a while. So it's pretty small, the pot, in comparison to the size. We've got these huge leaves on it. I thought, well, now that it's, you know, longer days and warmer weather, not that it goes outside, it stays indoors, but it gets more sun, so it'll be actively growing. I thought, let's get it into a bigger pot. Let's see how big I can get this jackfruit this year. Fingers crossed, you know, I don't damage it when I do the repot. So I've got some orchid bark, got some John Innes number 2, and I've got John Innes sort of seed sowing, which is kind of sort of a softer low mix, because it's an indoor plant and it's not going to be going outside, because I have tried that in the past with the jackfruit I grew not last year, the year before, and unfortunately when I put it outside, it just couldn't tolerate the sun. The leaves just turned black and it just collapsed and died. And that's what's happened with my 2 jackfruits from Bangladesh. I'll show you those in a minute. They're not dead, but I did put them outside in this sunny weather, thinking, oh, you know, they'll enjoy this sun, and it just shriveled up the leaf buds basically. So yeah, not going outdoors with this. This will be an indoor grown plant. So I'll get the mix sorted out, and I'll lift this out of the pot and have a look at the roots. So very carefully tipped it out, and you can see it's got a good root system. Definitely needed a repot. And now I've got my mixture of the 3, the John Innes seed sowing, number 2 compost. I've not used number 3 for this because it's kind of not as strong or as tough as the Bangladeshi trees that I brought back. You know, they were growing in that kind of sort of number 3 type of mix. So I've got the excess here. So plenty of orchid bark in there. You can still see the orchid bark here on the top. And I'm going to carefully get it into that pot now. Right, so repotted. And it's got a little bit of a slight tilt toward that way. So what I'll do is, when I bring it closer to sunlight, is have it facing like this, so that new growth sort of grows that way, if that makes any sense. So yeah, hopefully it will increase in size. Not that it hasn't been doing that already, but I'd like to see a good growth spurt on it during these warmer, sunnier days. So hopefully by September, counting my chickens here, before the eggs have hatched. But yeah, get it to double the height. Now, fingers crossed. I have heard that, well, there was one guy who grew, not in this country, but grew a jackfruit. 18 months old, it bore fruit. It had grown significantly, probably twice the size as this plant, but at 18 months it had a little fruit on it. And he had it in a polytunnel, which was pretty warm, obviously, and lots of sun. But who knows, you know, never say never. So let's see if I can get this one to a height and a size, because I think it's to do with the size of the plant, not necessarily the age, because 18 months is very, very young. But, you know, I have seen another chap who had a plant. He keeps his jackfruit in a basement, and in Canada during the winter months under a grow light, and his produced fruit. It's a Bangladeshi chap. He brought the plant, I think it was a grafted plant, and it was a young plant. It wasn't, you know, huge by any means, but it grew very tall and it produced a fruit. Now, whether the fruit stayed on or not, I don't know, but the fact that it did that in Canada amazed me. So I have high hopes for this jackfruit. And let me show you the 2 jackfruit that I brought from Bangladesh that haven't had a great time of it, to be honest with you, compared to the other plants that seem to have recovered well, you know, the Bangladeshi ones. Let me just bring them in here. So this is they've labelled it green jackfruit, but it's the yellow fruiting variety. And this one had leaves on it until recently. And I put it outside in that hot weather. Didn't leave it outside, just put it outside during the sunny periods. I brought them back indoors in the evening, and it absolutely fried the leaves. This is what's happened, look. And these were new leaves. New leaves, they weren't the old leaves on the plant, and the old leaves had all fallen off. And there were buds here and here, and they've just fried them basically. So yeah, I won't be doing that again. I think I need to keep them indoors, just like this jackfruit. It's not going to go outdoors, not even when it's the sunniest of days. It stays in here, because I made that mistake with the plant that I grew in, well, 2 plants I were growing back into 2023 and in 2024 in the summer, put the plant outside and killed it basically, you know, killed the plant off. So was it 2023 or 2020? Anyway, yeah, so I put it outside, sunny weather, leaves just fried, and then it never recovered from that. You know, the seedling just couldn't handle it basically. So these are grafted plants, and so I'm hoping that is in their favour, that they will bounce back. They've taken longer to recover than the other plants, the guavas, the mangoes, etc. But there is still green, and it's got that nice bud there. Oh, it's got horrible aphids on it. Ugh, get rid of them. Yeah, that's the thing when you've got them indoors and they're not exposed to other predators, you know, that will eat them. You just got to keep on top of that. Yeah, so these leaves badly damaged, leaf buds scorched. So I'll remove these 2 little twigs here, because, you know, they're not going to grow back there. So there's shrinkage. You can see that that's a dead branch, you know, even though it's got green in it, it's shriveled. But this branch here, although there's dieback at the top, there's definitely signs of growth, little buds there. So yeah, keeping these indoors no matter what. And let me show you the other one, the red jackfruit. This one did lose all its leaves almost straight away. And yes, I put this outside, and look what it did to that leaf there. So yeah, this one hadn't got much to lose, and thankfully it kept that little leaf bud there. And as you can see further down, there's leaf buds appearing, and on here. So these stay on the windowsill, so they get plenty of sun that way, but they're not going to be going outside. and still in the same pots. You know, the root balls aren't massive on these. If you see that circular shape, well, that is the root ball. And I've only sort of, I didn't want to over pot them because I didn't want the soil to be too wet for too long. So although I do water frequently, the water drains out, as you can see. Watered them today, and I'll remove that water from the tray in a bit. But yeah, so jackfruit's not as easy, you know, to manage, not for me anyway. But hopefully these two will make a recovery, and that my seed grown jackfruit will continue to get bigger and bigger, and maybe I'll get my first jackfruit flower this year. Who knows? We'll just have to see. So thanks very much for watching, everyone, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do like and share with your friends. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.